Oh my God, it's a beast's worth plant-based meat. Boom, very ceremonious. Is it a bloody delicious recipe? G'day, my name's Zachary Bird and I'm a vegan chef and cookbook author from Melbourne. And today we're making something exceptionally stupid and very, very decadent. When you think of IKEA, what do you think of? Sweden? Meatballs? You might know how to make a meatball, but do you know how to make it vegan? Then do you know how to make it giant and stuffed with spaghetti? Do you know how to make it fashion? Today we are making a giant spaghetti stuffed meatball. Come and worship at the Church of the Giant Flying Spaghetti Monster, because today we're making a shrine to gluttony. Let's get started. We've got a whole lot of pre-cooked spaghetti. We've got some marinara sauce and some vegan cheese. We've got a giant beautiful bowl from IKEA to build it in. We're going to need some cling wrap as well. And then the main ingredient is a big bowl of plant-based meat. And to get started, we're going to fill this whole bowl with a sheet of cling film. We're going to make sure to fill this entire bowl with a layer of cling wrap. And this is going to be what helps us form everything into a big, smooth meatball when we're ready to party. Pour your marinara sauce into your pre-cooked spaghetti and give it a stir so everything's got flavor throughout. Next up, put a light spray of cooking oil on the cling wrap to make your life a little bit easier later. And before we get started on the mince, you're welcome to add some herbs and spices. I'm gonna check in my little herb drawer. Definitely think some oregano is gonna look good in here. We're just freehanding this because this plant-based meat already has plenty of flavor. So I'm gonna add some thyme and oregano. What else have we got to choose from? A little bit of chili for a kick up the butt. Oh, a lot of chili for a real booty. And parsley, gotta have a bit of that. Mash in those beautiful spices and herbs, and then we're ready to go. Once you're done mashing, we just need to add this all to our big lined bowl, and we're gonna use an oiled spoon to spread it into a thin layer. That is a beast's worth of plant-based meat. A lot of plant-based meats in this one. They say vegans can't find protein. You ever heard of a supermarket? There's lots of these things in there, and there's so much vegan protein to be found these days. Once that's all smoothed out, it's time for a filling. So we get our dairy-free cheese on the bottom so it melts all over the inside of the spaghetti stuffed meatball, because this is going to be the top once we're done. And then our prepared spaghetti, boom, very ceremonious. That gets absolutely just dumped on top. And then from here, we're going to use the cling wrap to guide the plant-based meat over and encase everything into a beautiful little ball. Just walking the edges around to make something quite smooth and homogeneous. This coming together absolutely beautifully, and we don't have smell-o-vision yet, but if you'll take my word for it, it smells like an absolute winner. Once you've maneuvered this into a pretty homogeneous meatball, it's time for the tricky part, which is transferring to the baking dish. So once pretty much all the plant-based meat has found itself on top of the ball, which is really the bottom, and made one full ball, I'm going to use this to carefully flip over onto a lined baking tray. And then from here, it's about unwrapping the present that is this delicious dish. So here's what we've got. The great thing about plant-based meat is it works pretty much just like real meat. So we can now shape this a little bit more because it's meats and very malleable. I recommend with plant-based meat, using wet hands when you're shaping it, especially with one like this one that uses methyl cellulose and TDP. This will help just adhere everything together and make sure everything connects in its brand new shape, which is this. Note to self, my drinking water is no longer drinking water. From here, I recommend you take the time to marvel at your creation, and then normally I would just bake this for 45 minutes, but because it's double the size, I'm gonna put some alfoil on it and bake it covered for the first half an hour or so, so everything gets nice and hot and the plant-based meat sets into one giant meatball. Take a look at this. Give it a spank and marvel at your creation before we bake it. Ooh, it is gorgeous. You can shape it up here too. So feel free to stack it up high, like you've just been given a construction permit and you're trying to piss the neighbors off. So let's give this bad boy a bit of height before we get it in the oven. And again, if it starts to split as you mold it, a wet hand will help you put it all back into place. I think we're ready to bake. If you thought we were just gonna chill out while that bakes, you are sorely mistaken. We are making a sauce to go on top of our giant meatball, and that is artichoke pesto, which is a little plot twist on regular pesto. So on this one, we've got basil like normal, but we are going in mostly with parsley. We've got pistachios instead of pine nuts. And because it's artichoke pesto, would you believe there's 300 grams of marinated artichokes also joining in. And lastly is some lemon juice and nutritional yeast, which is a vegan alternative to cheese. It's it's a powder, so it works quite close to parmesan, which is normally in pesto. So all we have to do is whisk those things together. Halfway through, scrape everything down the side so it's all getting processed together. It smells incredible. And we're going to give that another whiz to make sure everything's nice and chopped up. That's looking pretty good. We're going to scrape down the sides of the food processor. We're going to slowly pour in olive oil to make it a pesto. Oh my God. This is a beautiful dip or sauce to go on anything at all. So don't be afraid to try artichoke pesto. And I guess now we're ready to plate up a giant spaghetti stuffed meatball. I've served it on a bed of rocket. This is a mammoth meatball made of plant-based meat, full of spaghetti. You can serve it up as the centerpiece at any event that you dream of and slice it up like a cake, frosted with artichoke pesto. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the IKEA festival.